My name is Arden. I learned the sound a secret makes when a room is quiet. It is not a crash. It is a soft click, like a door that never really closed. Thanksgiving lived in my bones. The cinnamon at dawn. The cousins who arrived early and pretended not to be hungry. The hummingbird rush of my mother's voice counting dishes and minutes. Every year I cooked the turkey. Every year I carved it while my sister, Rhea, passed plates and my husband, Cole, poured wine like he was blessing the room. Last year I lifted the knife, and the room felt different. Too bright. Too still. Cole would not meet my eyes. Rhea smiled too hard. My mother fluttered, hands busy, voice high, saying nothing that mattered. On the counter sat the cloth place cards I had written by hand. Small folded tents of card stock with gold edges. I set one by my father's chair. I set one by my mother's. I set one by the only empty seat at the table, the one no one noticed yet, the one I had left open on purpose. I could hear my heartbeat in my palms. I could hear the soft, domestic sounds that cover 1,000 louder truths. The kettle ticked as it cooled. The timer blinked. Someone laughed in the living room at a joke I did not catch. Cole cleared his throat. He raised his glass. To family, he said, smooth and easy. To love that lasts. The words floated above the table and fell like feathers. Pretty. Weightless. Harmless, if you did not know where they came from. I knew. He had spent our honeymoon week with Rhea. He had done it while telling me he needed time to center himself after the wedding. He had kissed me goodbye, carried his suitcase down the stairs like a promise, and taken my sister to a hotel 2 exits down the highway, where they had ordered room service and posted nothing and made a new dictionary out of words that used to mean home. I did not find out then. I found out months later, one quiet Monday, when I wiped the dust from the top shelf of our closet and found a hotel card key tucked into the corner of Cole's travel bag. The number was stamped on the back in silver ink. Room 215. The discovery did not feel like a slap. It felt like the slow, cold settling of a lake when the season changes. I did not scream. I did not throw the card away. I slipped it into the pocket of my apron and kept wiping the shelf, like a person calmly folding a parachute for a jump she has already decided to take. At the Thanksgiving table, I lifted the carving knife and felt the weight of the steel. The blade flashed under the light. The skin of the turkey crackled. The room leaned forward a breath. Before we say grace, I said, I want to tell you a story. Cole's smile froze. Rhea's hands tightened around the bowl of cranberries. My mother blinked and nodded, because I had always been the one who made words sound safe. It is a simple story, I said. It starts with a small piece of plastic. I reached into the pocket of my apron and placed the hotel card key in the center of the table, right on the woven runner my grandmother had made when she was a girl. The silver number caught the light. Room 215. No one moved. In the corner of the room, the clock ticked twice. Somewhere, a neighbor's dog barked and stopped. Arden, my mother whispered, half warning, half worry. What is this? I lifted my eyes and let my voice be as flat and true as a ruler on a page. This, I said, is how I learned what Cole and Rhea did with our honeymoon. The knife was still in my hand. The room was still inside its own breath. And all that calm had something sharp in it now, something about to open. Let me show you, I said. And I reached for the first envelope. The envelope was plain and cream, the kind that makes even bad news feel official. I set it beside the hotel key. No one reached for it. My father stared at the key like it might explain itself if he looked hard enough. Cole put his glass down. The stem clinked against the table. Rhea shifted her weight and tried to smile like this was a misunderstanding we would laugh about later. I did not open the envelope slowly to build drama. I opened it the way I had opened it alone at our kitchen table late at night, with a letter opener and a steady hand. Inside was a copy of the hotel folio I had requested from the desk manager after I found the key. I remember that day as clearly as the scent of nutmeg. I had called the hotel and said, "My husband stayed with you in early spring. I need a folio for our records." The manager had asked for the dates. I guessed. He found the reservation under Cole's name. He offered to email the receipt. "Thank you," I said, and hung up the phone without letting my voice shake. When the email came, I printed it. Line by line, it told a small story with very tidy numbers. 2 nights. Room service twice. 1 bottle of sparkling wine. 1 silk robe charged to the room shop. No names. No photographs. The folio did not need those. It carried a time stamp for a midnight check-in. Midnight on the night Cole told me he wanted to be alone to reflect. I set the folio in the center of the table. My mother reached for her glasses and slid them on with the same hands that used to tie my hair into braids. She read the lines. Her face changed, not to anger, not to denial, to a kind of soft sorrow that made something in my chest ache. "Arden," she said, "you must have called the wrong." "Look at the card number on file," I said. "It ends in the same 4 digits as the travel card I gave him for our honeymoon. The one we never used." Cole found his voice. He went for the joke he always used to land a meeting. "It was a mix-up," he said, light, easy. "They put the wrong card on the wrong stay. It happens." Rhea added a soft laugh, the sound she used when she wanted to make hard things softer. "Honestly," she said, "hotel computers make a million mistakes." I did not argue. I set down the next item. It was a photograph printed on glossy paper. It was not from the hotel. It was from Rhea's own social feed, posted the week after our wedding. A mirror selfie in a bathroom with black and white tile. She was smiling. She was wearing a silk robe with a small embroidered logo at the hem. The same logo as the hotel shop. "I bought a robe like that once," she said quickly. "From a consignment." I nodded as if we were simply building a puzzle together. I placed a second photograph beside the first. This one was mine. Same mirror. Same tile. Same robe. Same small snag in the stitching at the shoulder, visible if you looked. Cole laughed, but it was tight. "You are really reaching." "Maybe," I said. "Maybe not." The next page was a printout of our phone bill. I did not wave it like a flag. I slid it across the table to my father. The bill showed a cluster of long calls between Cole and a number saved in his phone as "work coach." The calls happened on nights he said he was journaling alone in a rented cabin. The number belonged to Rhea. "I shared my number with the whole family," Rhea said. "You did," I said. "You also shared a second number with Cole." "How do you know that?" she asked, too quickly. "Because I called it," I said. "And your voice answered." Silence is a living thing when truth opens it. It crawls across the table and sits down with you, and everyone pretends it is not there. I took a breath. I took another. I had promised myself I would not shout. I had promised myself I would not aim the knife at anything but the bird. "I am not here to hurt anyone," I said. "I am here to end the lie we have all been breathing like air." Cole put on his tender eyes. He reached for my hand. "Arden," he said softly, "you have been very stressed. Planning a wedding is hard. Big changes can make the mind see patterns that are not there." He squeezed my fingers. I turned my hand over and laid a small, white hotel toiletries card between us. It was printed with a welcome message. At the bottom was a line that said, "If you need anything, dial 0." On the back, in blue pen, was a number and a note. "Spare key at desk. R." Cole let go of my fingers. In the kitchen the oven timer chimed, cheerful and oblivious. My mother stood without looking away from the table and turned it off. The room felt like someone had taken a deep breath and forgotten how to let it go. "You have more," my father said quietly, not a question. "I do," I said. But you will need to hear it, not just see it. I reached into the apron pocket again, and this time my hand closed around a small black speaker. I set it beside the hotel key. The metal glinted. The speaker's light blinked blue. "Play," I said. And the room filled with my sister's voice. Her voice came through the tiny speaker like a ghost that had finally remembered it had a mouth. It was a voicemail, one she had meant to send to Cole and had sent to me by mistake 3 weeks earlier. I had saved it the way you save a birth certificate, tucked into a folder you do not show anyone until you have to. "Hey," Rhea said, bright and soft, a voice she saved for men who made her feel admired. "Front desk has the champagne. Room 215 again. Same as last time. Hurry." The message was short. The silence after it was not. Cole went pale in a way makeup could not fix. He reached for the speaker like he could turn the sound down on history. My father lifted a hand, slow and steady, like a traffic cop in an old movie. Cole stopped. I could have forgiven a kiss, my mother whispered to no one. A stupid kiss at a stupid party. But our family's weak. The 1 week I raised you both to treat like sacred. Rhea's chin raised a fraction. We did not plan it, she said, and then, because she had always believed honesty came with a discount if you said it quickly, she added, "At first." "At first," I repeated, letting the words sit in the air where they belonged. I did not tell them how I had found the voicemail. I did not tell them about the way my phone lit up in the grocery store aisle with canned pumpkin and pie crusts, how the screen had shown Rhea's name and a heart from a silly sister sticker pack, how I had swiped and listened and felt the floor under my feet shift a degree. I did not tell them about the way I had walked home with a paper bag full of nothing I needed, opened the kitchen drawer, taken out a pen, and written, "Room 215, on the back of an old shopping list. My hands had been steady. My eyes had not. Instead, I set a thin stack of paper on the table. Printed messages. A careful, miserable timeline. I had brightened the screenshots so older eyes could read them. I had circled dates. I had drawn lines. I had done it like I was drawing a map for someone who got lost in the same place every day. "This is not a trial," I said, though it looked like one. "This is a map. I needed to find my way out, and now you need to see the route." Cole did what he always did when cornered. He turned the corner into a stage. He widened his eyes with hurt. "Arden," he said, "you never asked me about any of this." "I did," I said. "You said you were journaling." He swallowed. "I needed time. To center yourself," I said. "You told me. You told me every time you wanted Rhea." Rhea pushed away from the table. The chair legs scraped the floor with a sound that made every hair on my arms rise. "I am not the villain here," she said. "I am not a thief. You did not own him. He chose." "True," I said. "He did." I turned to my parents. My father's jaw was tight. My mother's eyes were glassy and far away, as if she had stepped into a memory of her own marriage that she had not visited in years. "I am not going to throw anything," I said. "I am not going to break plates or flip a table. I am going to set this room straight, and then I am going to carve this bird, and then, after dessert, Cole is going to pack a bag." Cole tried again, softer. "Do we have to do this now? On this day?" "Yes," I said. "On this day." "Why?" my mother asked, not angry, aching. "Why this day?" "Because you taught me to tell the truth before we eat," I said. "Because grace is not the words you say. It is the room you make for the honest thing to sit down." I did not look at Cole when I said it. I looked at the empty chair I had left for the truth. It was there now. It had a place. Rhea's phone lit up on the table. A text from an unsaved number flashed and vanished. She snatched the phone up and put it face down, the way guilty hands learn to move. "You cannot control this narrative," Cole said, the first sharp edge of anger in his voice. "I do not need to control it," I said. "I need to stop it from controlling me." I reached for the second envelope. It was thicker. It did not hold paper. It held a small metal object on a key ring. I set it beside Ria's plate. She knew what it was before she touched it. Her face changed in a way I had never seen, a tiny grief for the little thrill that would not come again. It was the spare key to her apartment. The one she had given to Cole. The one I had copied and used to set a camera in her entryway. Cole's eyes snapped to mine. You broke into her home? I walked into my sister's apartment with a key she gave to my husband, I said. Then I walked out. If you want to talk about breaking, talk about a vow. I did not say what I was thinking. That vows break with a whisper, not a shout. My mother pressed her fingers to her mouth. My father's hands were flat on the table now, the way a man stills something in himself before it topples a room. Play the second recording, he said. So I did. The second recording was not a voicemail. It was a conversation captured by the camera in Ria's entryway. The audio was not perfect. Doors make sound move like water. But you could hear enough. Cole's voice, low, after midnight. Your family suspects nothing. Ria's laughter, breathless near his ear. They never do. The words did not land like knives. They landed like seeds that had already sprouted in my chest in the dark. Hearing them only told me what the roots looked like. I turned the speaker off and the room shook with silence again. My father stood. He did not roar. He did not point. He picked up his water glass and drank, slow and careful, like a person swallowing a large pill. My mother sat very straight. I cannot, she said, one palm open in the air. I cannot do this and cook at the same time. I cooked, I said gently. It is all ready. Her shoulders fell a fraction. Of course you did. Cole looked at me with a new expression, one I recognized from boardrooms and tight corners. Respect. It arrived late. I did not keep it. I did not do this alone, I said. I reached for another envelope and handed it to my father. Inside was a short letter on crisp paper. The letterhead belonged to Avery, my friend from book club who happened to be a family lawyer. We had met over peppermint tea and paperbacks with complicated mothers. We had stayed in touch through recipes and gentle encouragements. 3 months ago I had called her and said, I need to ask questions without starting a war. She had said, ask. The letter in my father's hand explained 2 things. First, that I had opened my own account and moved my paycheck into it. Second, that I had filed a petition for separation, prepared in case of a confirmed affair. The petition was not a grenade. It was a seat belt. You hope never to test it. You drive differently when you know it is there. I did not flash the petition like a threat. I spoke like a person telling a story with a clear ending. If Cole denies this, I will not argue. I will let the petition speak. If Cole admits this, he will spend the night in a hotel that is not room 215. My parents looked at each other the way people do after 50 years. There is a whole conversation in the eyes. There is a whole novel in the pause. Ria made a small sound. Not crying. A complaint dying in her throat before it could find the air. You made me the villain, she said. On purpose. You always wanted to be perfect. You could never stand that people loved me first. Ah. There it was. The story she had told herself. The story that wrapped her in silk and let her sleep under another woman's wedding gift. I do not want to be perfect, I said. I want to be honest. There is a difference. Cole laughed once, a short, ugly cough of sound. You think honesty will save this marriage? No, I said. I think it will end it cleanly. My father set Avery's letter down. Enough, he said, and the word was not a command. It was a boundary. We will eat food that Arden cooked with love, and we will not let this sin poison the only part of this day that is still holy. He looked at me. Do you need help? Yes, I said. I need you to host here, in my house, next year. It surprised him. He smiled anyway. Agreed. It surprised Rhea more. Her face flickered, a storm across a small lake. Control slipping. Audience gone. She reached for the key I had set beside her plate. She closed her hand around it and then set it back down like it burned. Arden, my mother said softly. What do you need from me? I wanted to tell her I needed her to pick a daughter in a way that did not break her own heart. I wanted to tell her I needed her to call what happened by its right name. Instead I said, I need you to sit. She sat. I lifted the knife again. I could have carved the bird in silence and let everyone chew on their own thoughts. I could have ended the show here, before the scene where people decide who they are. But the lie had been a long meal, and I had only just begun the first course. There is one more thing, I said. Cole rolled his eyes, bravado trying to settle back onto his face. Of course there is. Yes, I said. Of course. I reached into the drawer of the sideboard and pulled out 10 small envelopes. Each one held a place card with a name and a small square of paper under it. I had written something kind on each square. Words about the person at that seat. True words. I had also written a number at the bottom of each square. Before we eat, I said, we are going to do a gratitude circle. We are going to read the words under our names. When we are done, we will flip the square. On the back is a sentence that belongs with gratitude today. My mother's eyes widened. Arden, I do not think. It will be gentle, I said. It will also be clear. Rhea hissed, do not you dare. I looked at her, the girl I had shared a room with, the woman who knew my tells and my jokes and my patience. I dared, I said. We will all read. I handed the first envelope to my father. And then the doorbell rang. No one ever rings on Thanksgiving. They knock. They yell through the door. They let themselves in with a memory. The bell cut the air like a new note in an old song, something modern sliding under a hymn. I asked a friend to stop by, I said, and walked toward the hall. Cole stood so fast his chair scraped the floor. Who? He demanded. Rhea's mouth opened. A shape of a guess formed and disappeared. I opened the door. Avery stood on the porch in a wool coat the color of smoke, her hair up, her eyes kind and alert. She held a pie in her hands like an offering and a folder under her arm like a shield. Avery, I said, and stepped aside. My mother stood in the doorway between the hall and the dining room, smoothing her apron as if she were meeting a pastor. Avery smiled at her the way she smiles at women who have been braver than anyone applauded. Happy Thanksgiving, she said. Cole laughed. You brought your lawyer to dinner? I brought my friend, I said. The law came with her for free. Avery set the pie on the kitchen counter and the folder on the sideboard. She did not open it. I am not here to take sides, she said to my parents. I am here to make sure this room stays safe. Safe from what? Rhea snapped. From people who would rewrite the scene before the credits roll, Avery said mildly, and took a seat near my father. My father handed her an envelope with her name on it. She raised an eyebrow. I made one for you too, I said. Then I am honored, she replied. We returned to the table. The bell had rung. The cast was complete. The stage was set in a way I had not planned and was grateful for anyway. Begin, my father said. He opened his envelope. He read the words on the square with his name. You are the kind of man who waters plants even when no one remembers the flowers, he read, his voice a little rough. Then he flipped the square and read the sentence on the back. You taught us that love is a verb. Today, say it when it is hardest. He set the square down beside his plate and nodded once, as if he had delivered a line he had been meant to hold all his life. My mother opened hers. You are a woman who makes room at a table for people who did not bring a dish, she read, and laughed through a small tear. She flipped the square. You do not have to hold everyone at once. Put the heavy thing down. Avery's turn. You carry a lantern into rooms that pretend the lights work, she read. She flipped. Ask for the truth without apology. Then my father handed an envelope to Rhea. She did not take it. He set it by her plate. She sat very still, as if the envelope might bite. Finally, she lifted the flap with one nail and slid the square out. You learned early that charm is currency, she read flatly. She flipped it. It is not a credit card for another woman's life. Color rose in her cheeks. Cole did not wait for an envelope. This is humiliating, he said. Why are we doing this? This is not therapy. This is a circus. It is a meal, Avery said. Stay in your chair. He glared at her. He glared at me. He took the envelope with his name. He read the words on the front. You are the kind of man who makes chores look like favors, he read, sneering. He flipped the square. The sentence on the back was short. Stop borrowing from the future. My father coughed once, a sound that might have been a laugh in a kinder scene. The cousins read theirs. My aunt read hers. The room changed by degrees, like a photograph developing in a tray, faces coming into focus, truths finding their edges. When the circle reached me, I opened my envelope. You are a woman who keeps the house standing while a storm pretends it is only rain, I read. I flipped the card. Leave the windows open. Let the storm see you. I set the card down. The knife was still in my hand. The turkey waited. The sides steamed. The pie cooling on the counter smelled like cinnamon and courage. Now Grace, my father said. Wait, Cole cut in, desperation finally pushing anger aside. I have something to say. And I have one more thing to play, I said, and clicked the speaker on again. The third recording was not Rhea. It was my mother. That surprised everyone, even me, the first time I heard it. She had called me 2 nights earlier after I told her, very gently, that I wanted Thanksgiving at my house. She had said yes, and then, after a long breath, she had said, there is something I should tell you. The recording was short. I had asked for her permission to play it in the room if I needed her voice before she found her courage. She had said yes without a pause. Arden, her voice said over the speaker, calm and older than it had sounded all day. When I was your age I stayed quiet because I was terrified of being the woman who broke the family. Silence does the breaking for you. If you need my voice, use it. I will not press your hand. I will hold it. The speaker clicked off. The room shifted on its own axis. My father stared at my mother with new eyes and old love. Cole moved quickly, like a man trying to get his body between a train and a wall. Enough, he said. This is a family matter. We will not ruin this day. Arden and I will go to counseling. We will forgive. We will rebuild. Rhea will apologize. Rhea flinched. Do not speak for me. He spun on her. You started this. Oh, Avery said softly. There it is. What? My mother asked. The pivot, Avery replied. The part where a man who lost control of the story tries to hand it to a woman who cannot hold it for him. Cole pointed at the speaker. You do not get to ambush me with recordings and props and a lawyer. You ambushed me with my sister in a hotel bed, I said. I brought a lantern. He laughed, ugly. You are theatrical. Thank you, I said, and picked up the knife. I was not going to hurt anyone. But even a knife held over a turkey reminds people what sharp looks like. Everyone stopped talking. Everyone waited for the next line. Here is the complication, I said. Not the secret. The schedule. Outside, the sky had shifted from silver to pewter. Snow, the forecast had said. Very light. Then heavier. I had made 2 plans. A caterer for a miracle day. A freezer full of casseroles for a human one. The caterer had called an hour earlier. A jackknifed truck on the interstate. A delay. Then a maybe. Then a no. I had not told anyone. I had set the frozen casseroles in the oven 2 at a time and prayed to the God of cheese. I had never asked that God for anything. It had said yes. But the pies. The pies were Ria's. She made good pies. She brought 2 every year, apple and pecan, perfect lattices, golden edges. She had walked in with them like a promise, held out to a room she knew she had broken. When I had asked my mother for a recording, I had also asked Ria for something. Bring your pies, I had texted. Bring the pretty knife with the mother of pearl handle. She had replied with a thumbs up and a heart. Everyone loves their own generosity. Now I lifted the mother of pearl knife and set it beside the turkey blade. The knives lay there like 2 versions of the same story, one blunt, one ornamental. We are going to finish this meal, I said. We are going to say grace. We are going to eat. After dessert, Cole will go to a hotel. Ria will go home. Tomorrow, I will file the papers. Tonight, we will not pretend that the person who cut this pie gets to cut this family. Cole reached for the pie knife. I moved it 1 inch to the left. A small motion. A bright line. He looked at my father. Are you really going to let her do this? My father looked at me. I am going to let her save us from pretending, he said. The doorbell rang again. Ria whispered, who else did you invite? Someone who does not knock, I said, and went to the door. It opened to a uniform and a kind smile. Officer Perez. She was a neighbor who had eaten my cinnamon rolls on the porch on a summer morning while telling me gently what to do when a man who does not want to leave says he will. Happy Thanksgiving, she said. This is the courtesy call you asked for. Cole's face drained. You called the police on me? I asked for a wellness check, I said. On my home. Officer Perez nodded. I am here to ensure that a guest who is asked to leave after dinner can do so without anyone raising a voice. Ridiculous, Cole spat. Routine, she said. Ria laughed once, a sound like ice cracking. You planned everything, she said. Yes, I said. Even the part one did not want to plan. The room stood very still. The knives glinted. The casseroles hissed quietly in the oven like rain on a tin roof. Outside, the first snow began to fall, soft and stubborn, the beginning of something that would look gentle from a distance and feel very cold on your skin. Grace, my father said again, voice steady. I bowed my head, not because I was obedient, but because I had been taught that you take a breath before a truth and you make space for it to land. When I lifted my head, I began. Thank you, I said, for food. For hands that cooked it. For a table that has seen everything and did not collapse. I looked at Cole. I looked at Ria. I did not look away. Thank you for honesty, I said. The kind that is late and still matters. I set down the knife and picked up the small speaker one last time. My thumb hovered over the button. The room held its breath like a choir waiting for the first note. This is the last recording, I said. After this, we use our own voices. I pressed play. Cole's voice, clear, 2 months ago. Do not text me today. She is home. Ria's reply, a whisper. Later then. Same hotel. Cole's voice. Room 215 is lucky. The recording clicked off. The speaker's light went dark. The first snow dusted the porch outside like sugar. Lucky, my mother repeated softly, as if tasting a word she would never put in her mouth again. Cole lifted his hands. I was weak, he said. I was confused. It did not mean. Do not finish that sentence, Avery said. It meant exactly what you made it mean. Ria pushed away from the table again. The chair scraped. You wanted a show, Arden, she said. You got one. Are you happy? Did you enjoy turning this day into a courtroom? I met her eyes. I turned this day into a mirror. She laughed. You love being the hero. I loved you, I said. Both of you. I do not know what to call what you loved. Cole spread his hands. We can fix this. No, I said. We can end this. I reached for the folder Avery had set on the sideboard and slid out a single sheet. I set it in front of Cole. It was a consent order for temporary separation. It was not punishment. It was the shape of a boundary. Sign after dinner, I said. Pack a bag. We already reserved a room. Rhea blanched. Where? A hotel, I said. Not that one. My father put his hand over my mother's hand on the table. Their fingers laced together like an old habit. My mother nodded once. She did not cry. She had cried earlier, alone in her room, when I told her what I knew. She had cried the way people cry when they recognize the shape of a pain from long ago. Now she was a still lake with weather moving over it. Officer Perez stood near the doorway, quiet and present, the living promise that no scene would be rewritten by volume. I lifted the knife again. It felt lighter. The bird under my hand was golden and ready. The cousins, who had said nothing and everything with their eyes, leaned forward with relief. We will eat now, I said. We will tell the truth when we pass the dishes. We will not pretend a grace we did not earn. I carved the first slice. I put it on my father's plate. I carved the second. I put it on my mother's. I carved the third. I put it on my own. When I reached Cole's plate, I paused. He nodded, small, like a man finally understanding the rules of a game he thought he had invented. Please, he said. I set the slice down. When I reached Rhea, I did the same. I did not starve anyone. I did not throw food. I fed the people who had betrayed me because I am not what they did. I am what I do. Halfway through the meal, my aunt told a story about the year the oven broke and my grandfather cooked the turkey on the grill. Everyone laughed in the way people laugh when a room has exhaled something heavy. The pie waited on the counter, perfect lattices, golden edges. When it was time, I lifted the mother-of-pearl knife and cut the first slice. I served my mother. I served my father. I served myself. I served Avery. Then I handed the knife to Rhea. Your pies, I said. Your hands. Her fingers closed around the handle. For a second, her face softened. The part of her that liked to be useful pushed through the part that liked to be adored. She cut slices. She passed plates. She did not meet my eyes. When the last plate was served, she set the knife down with a soft clink and folded her hands in her lap. After dessert, I said, we will take 5 minutes. Cole will sign. He will pack. Officer Perez will walk him to the car. Rhea will call a ride. We will not speak in the driveway. And then what? My mother asked, not plaintive, practical. And then, I said, we will wash dishes. The cousins laughed. It broke the spell in the gentlest way. Outside, the snow thickened. Inside, the room began to hum again, the way rooms do when a sound has finally been named. Then Cole said the thing that told me I had done the right thing the right way. Arden, he said, quiet and raw, I am sorry. I nodded. I believed him. It did not change a single plan. After pie, the cousins started clearing plates like a small army of kindness. My aunt stood at the sink and ran hot water, her back a straight line of solidarity. My father found the old radio in the pantry and turned it to a station that played the kind of music that sounds like a window open in spring. My mother folded napkins. It looked like any Thanksgiving. It was not. Cole sat at the end of the table with Avery's pen in his hand. The consent order lay in front of him. He read every line, not to find a way out, but like a man learning the rules of a country he would not be allowed to visit again. He signed. His handwriting looked unfamiliar, even to me. The signature of a person he would not get to be here. Ria stood in the hall with her phone to her ear. She spoke in a low voice. She said, "I cannot talk now, and I will call you later." She said, "No, do not come." Then she hung up and stared at the coat rack as if it might tell her who she had been this morning. Officer Perez waited near the door, present without intruding. She had the gift of making authority feel like a blanket, not a blade. When Cole stood, the room went very quiet. He looked at me. He looked at my father. He looked at my mother. He did not look at Ria. Not out of shame. Out of a new understanding that would take him years to name. "I will get my bag," he said. "I packed it," I said. "It is by the door." He nodded. "Of course." He walked to the door with Officer Perez. He lifted the bag. He paused with his hand on the knob. "Arden," he said, "please tell your father I will make things right." My father answered from the table. "Make yourself right," he said. "We will handle the rest." Cole nodded as if he had expected that line and still did not like it. He opened the door. The snow had softened the world outside into a painting. "Good night," he said. "Goodbye," I said. The door closed. The sound was small and enormous at once. Ria stayed. She had not signed anything. She wore no ring. She had no paper to take with her. She stood in the hall like a girl at the edge of a pool who cannot decide if the water is cold. "Ria," my mother said softly. "Come here." Ria obeyed. She always had, when the voice was our mother's. My mother took her hands. "I love you," she said. "I will always love you. I do not love what you did. It does not live in this house anymore." Ria's face crumpled. Not in performance. In true, ugly grief. The kind that makes you look like a child. For a second I saw her at 8, at 12, at 17, stomping her foot when she did not get the best seat, crying in my lap when she did not get the lead in the school play. I felt a slice of something that hurt and also let me breathe. Compassion is not forgiveness. It is evidence you are still your mother's daughter. "Can I say something to you?" she asked me. "Yes," I said. "I thought you would always pick me," she whispered. "Even when I did not deserve it." "I did," I said. "Then I picked me." She nodded like a person looks at a sign she knows she will have to learn. She put on her coat. She picked up her pies. She left the mother-of-pearl knife on the table. "I will call you tomorrow," my mother said. "Not yet," Ria replied, and stepped into the snow. When the door closed again, my father turned off the radio. The house hummed with the particular quiet that follows the right kind of ending. Avery gathered her folder and stood. "You have done enough for tonight," she said. "Eat leftovers. Watch a movie. Sleep." "What about tomorrow?" my mother asked. "Tomorrow," Avery said, "you help your daughter make a list." "What kind of list?" my father asked. "People who get to be inside the circle," she said. "And people who stand outside until they learn how to knock." She hugged me. "You held the line," she whispered. "Well done." After she left, my father poured coffee. My mother brought out the good cream. We sat with our cups and let the steam make little clouds. We did not rehash the scene. We did not pick at the bones. We did what my family had always done when storms passed. We sat in the room they could not take. When the sink was empty and the counters wiped and the door locked, I walked to the table and picked up the hotel key. It looked small now. It looked like what it had always been. A piece of plastic. I dropped it into the trash. Morning smelled like coffee and oranges. Snow had layered the world in clean quiet. I woke without panic. My first thought was not a checklist. It was a sentence. You did it. I put on a sweater and thick socks and walked through my house the way a person walks through a museum after hours. The dishes had dried on the rack. The gratitude cards were gathered in a neat stack on the sideboard. The mother-of-pearl knife lay where Rhea had left it. I picked it up. It was lighter than it looked. I brewed coffee. I sliced an orange. I sat at the table with a pad of paper and wrote the list Avery had promised my parents. The circle. Inside, my parents. My aunt. The cousins who cleared plates before I asked. Avery. Officer Perez. Outside for now, Rhea. Cole. The cousins who texted Rhea under the table. The neighbor who loved drama more than people. At 9, Avery called. We filed the separation paperwork electronically. The petition cited infidelity without naming a person. The consent order from last night attached with digital grace. The law can be slow. It can also be clean. At 10, I logged into our joint bank app and double-checked the transfers I had set months ago. My paycheck to my account. The mortgage to the joint account. The joint account funded for 3 months and then set to 0, to be replenished only by signed agreement. I froze the shared credit card and opened a line in my name. I changed the password to the streaming service and the thermostat app. Small things are big when you are making a home that is not for two anymore. At 11, my mother arrived with tulips in winter paper. She set them on the counter and took off her coat. She looked tired and young, a mix that only mothers perfect. I am making a sandwich, she said. You will eat it. I laughed, and the sound felt like a friend I had not seen in a while. Yes, ma'am. While she sliced bread and told me about the time my grandfather brought home a stray dog on Thanksgiving, my phone buzzed. A text from Rhea. I am sorry, it read. No punctuation. Then, I do not know who I am without you picking me. I typed and deleted 3 replies. I settled on a sentence that told the truth without pulling a thread I could not wind again. I love you. I am not your net. She did not reply. At noon, my father arrived with a snow shovel and a grin. He sent me to the couch and cleared the walk like a man in a movie who has been given a second chance. When he finished, he came inside, took off his boots, sat in the chair he had always claimed at my table, and said, "Give me a job." "Explain football to me again," I said. He laughed. Impossible. In the afternoon, I walked to the shelter 2 blocks away with a tray of stuffing and a stack of plastic containers. I asked the director if they needed hands this weekend. She said yes in a voice that sounded like a door opening. I signed up for 3 hours. I wrote my name on the list with a pen they borrowed me. The act felt like a pole in a river, something I could grab when the current picked up again. In the evening, I set the mother-of-pearl knife on the mantel beside a photograph of my grandmother at 20, hair pinned high, eyes fierce. I told myself it was not a trophy. It was a reminder. Tools are tools. They are innocent until you choose what to cut. Before bed, my father called. "Come to the porch," he said. "I have something for you." I pulled on a scarf and stepped into the cold. He stood there with a small wooden box. He put it in my hands. It was smooth with age and oil from serious hands. "Open it," he said. Inside was the carving knife. The one I had used every year. The one my grandmother used. The one that had sliced every bird we ever blessed. "It is yours now," he said. "Not because of what you did last night. Because of who you have always been." I held the knife like it was both heavy and light. I looked at my father. He looked at me. I could see the child I had been in his eyes and the woman I was now, both reflected, both welcome. "Thank you," I said. He kissed my forehead. "Next year," he said, "we start with pies." We laughed, 2 people who had learned that sometimes the only way through a story is to tell a joke at the right time. I went inside. I locked the door. I slept. A year later I carved the turkey again. The table looked like it always had and nothing like it ever would again. Tulips in winter paper had become a vase of sunflowers. The cousins had brought children and new partners. My aunt had a new joke. My mother's laugh sounded like it had lost a stone and gained a bell. Ria did not come that year. She sent a letter in October. It said, "I am seeing a counselor. I am not ready to sit at your table. I hope next year I will be the kind of woman who can carry a pie without dropping it. I love you. Do not answer." I did not. That was love too. Cole sent a check each month. He showed up to mediation on time. He did not fight me for the house. He apologized in writing. We signed papers under the gentle hum of a courthouse heater. We walked out into the steady light of a cold afternoon and did not make vows we could not keep. He nodded to me in the parking lot. I nodded back. A strange kind of respect, late and clean. Avery came to dinner again. She brought cranberries that tasted like someone had remembered a song. Officer Perez dropped by for a slice on her break. My father carried the knife to the table like a ritual. He handed it to me. I carved with hands that did not shake. When it was time for grace, I did not make a speech. I told a short truth. "Thank you for a table that does not lie," I said. We ate. We laughed. We passed dishes and stories, the kind that make a house feel like it has a spine. Before dessert, I set 10 envelopes on 10 plates. Inside, a gratitude card and a sentence, "The way we had done the year everything broke." People smiled. People sighed. People said words to themselves they needed to hear. My card said, "You are a woman who opened a door and did not apologize for the wind." The sentence on the back said, "Do not shrink. Make room." After everyone left and the dishwasher hummed and the house went kind, I stood in the doorway and looked at the table. It did not glow. It did not sing. It sat there the way tables do. Ready. Patient. Honest.